I'm Kafren.
Standing in the opulent dining room of my childhood home, I felt a mix of humiliation and determination. I'd just been directed to enter my father's 60th birthday party through the back door, like some shameful secret. The caterer's curious glances and the grovel digging into my designer heels were a stark contrast to my status as the CEO of a multi-million-dollar tech firm. But then, a voice cut through the chaos. "Catherine Thompson, Madam CEO of Thompson Tech, what are you doing back here?" It was Mrs. Harper, the most influential businesswoman in our small town of Millfield. Her words were like a lightning bolt, changing everything in an instant. Looking back, I remember my early childhood in Millfield as a time of pure joy. My hometown was a close-knit community of about 10,000 people. My childhood home was a charming cottage on Cedar Street. My mom was a kind-hearted librarian, adored by everyone in town for her love of books and her gentle nature. My dad was a talented carpenter, known for his beautiful hand-crafted furniture. They were high school sweethearts, and their love was the foundation of our happy family. My mom would spend hours reading to me, opening up a world of imagination. My dad taught me how to use tools, and the feeling of creating something with my own hands was indescribable. Life was perfect until, at the age of 11, my mom was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive illness. Those 8 months were a blur of hospital visits and the slow, painful decline of the person who held our family together. My mom passed away on a cold winter morning. I remember that day vividly because I had a spelling bee competition, but my dad said Mom would want me to go on with my life. And though I understood, it took me years to feel like things were normal again. After my mom's death, my dad was a broken man. He tried to keep it together, but he threw himself into work, taking on more projects than he could handle. I buried myself in my studies, losing myself in books and assignments. Our family was in shambles until Linda entered our lives. Linda had lost her husband in a car accident 5 years prior. She had 2 children, Tom, who was a year older than me, and Sarah, a year younger. The first time my dad invited them over for dinner, I was hopeful. Linda arrived with a home-baked pie and a warm smile. She seemed so kind, complimenting our home and showing interest in my life. Her children were polite but a bit shy. Tom was always tinkering with his old-fashioned radio, and Sarah and I bonded over our love for painting. During their courtship, Linda visited often, bringing small gifts like art supplies and books. She made my dad smile again, and he seemed to carry less of a burden on his shoulders. 6 months later, they got married, and we moved into Linda's larger house on Maple Street. But the new family dynamic was far from the happy blend I'd hoped for. When it came to bedroom assignments, Tom and Sarah got the spacious rooms with private bathrooms, while I was given a small attic room. When I expressed my disappointment, Linda told me that Tom and Sarah needed stability after losing their father. My dad, avoiding my eyes, simply nodded in agreement. Over time, other changes became evident. Photos of my mom disappeared from the living room, replaced with pictures of Tom and Sarah's achievements. Our old holiday traditions were replaced with Linda's. At dinner, Tom and Sarah always got the best pieces of food and more attention for their school activities. I tried to focus on my studies, and by the time I was 16, I developed a passion for technology. I was accepted into a prestigious university, and that was the first time I truly felt free. My dad gave me some money, more than he could afford, and whispered, "Make me proud, kiddo." At university, I thrived. I was surrounded by like-minded people who valued my intelligence and ambition. I delved deep into computer science, and my professors were constantly impressed by my work. But my visits home became rarer. Each time I went back, I felt more and more like an outsider. Tom joined my dad's carpentry business, gradually taking over more responsibilities. Sarah went to a local college and got engaged to a boy from a wealthy family in town. Whenever I tried to share my tech-related ideas and achievements, Linda would brush them off, saying it was just a passing fad. After graduation, I turned down job offers from big tech companies to start my own startup. It was incredibly tough in the beginning. I faced sexism and skepticism from investors. But I persevered, and when I was 28, my company, Thompson Tech, launched a revolutionary software product. It was a game changer, and soon, our company was growing at an exponential rate. Despite my success, my relationship with my family deteriorated further. Linda would always downplay my achievements, referring to my work as Catherine's little computer thing. When I called to share the news that our company had reached 100 employees, Linda told me that my dad was busy helping Tom expand the business. But when my dad's 60th birthday invitation arrived, I hesitated. 5 years had passed since my last real visit, but he was still my dad. I decided to go, hoping that my success would finally earn me some respect. As I drove back to Millfield, the familiar sights brought back a flood of memories. The old town square, the library where my mom worked, and the diner where we used to have family meals. When I arrived at my dad's house, he greeted me with a warm smile, but Linda's words were cold. "Catherine, we were starting to think you wouldn't make it. Your work must keep you so busy." During the party preparations, Linda continued to undermine me. She gave me the smallest, most inconvenient room in the house and planned the meals to suit Tom's taste. At dinner, everyone talked about Tom's business success, and when the conversation turned to me, Linda and Sarah made assumptions about my struggles in the tech world. That night, when I was directed to the back door, the humiliation was unbearable. But then Mrs. Harper recognized me and started praising my work. People around the room turned to look, and Linda's face froze in shock. As the night went on, I could see the shift in the family dynamic. Tom started asking questions about my company, and my dad finally seemed to see me for who I was. After the party, when the family gathered in the living room, the truth finally came out. I confronted Linda about all the years of subtle undermining. She broke down and admitted that she was insecure. She was afraid that I would take my dad's love away from her children. My dad, with tears in his eyes, apologized for not being there for me. He said he had been so afraid of losing his new family that he had ignored my feelings. In the following months and years, things slowly changed. My dad started seeing a therapist, and he and Linda began couples counseling. Tom decided to start his own sustainable furniture business, inspired by my courage to strike out on my own. Sarah went to therapy to deal with her insecurities. A year after the birthday party, I hosted my dad's 61st birthday at my apartment in the city. It was a small gathering, but the atmosphere was warm and full of love. Linda still kept a bit of a distance, but she made efforts to acknowledge my achievements. This experience taught me that success isn't just about what we achieve in the outside world. It's also about finding our worth within ourselves and having the courage to face the truths in our family relationships. Sometimes, being forced to the back door can lead us to the right path forward. If you've ever had a similar experience, share your story in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it.